Okay, good afternoon, everybody. First, let me thank the organizers of this event for giving me the opportunity to present KALLIPOS. Second, please accept my apologies for not being able to physically present at the venue of the event. I hope that everything will go okay, also by distance. Here is the outline of my presentation. After a few introductory remarks on the open education and open educational resources, I'll go through the main theme by giving the identity and the scope of KALLIPOS, the human resources involved in the project, the workflow of book development from the authoring proposal stage to the very end of publishing the books, the main publishing methods used, as well as the main features of the repository and some usage statistics of the content. I will conclude with our plans for the continuation of the project. In Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948 in Paris, we read, "Everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit." Now, 7 decades after this notorious event, the vision of education for all, because this is the essence of this article of the declaration, can become a reality by exploiting the digital technologies and the open internet. Open education is a term, open education is a term that is used today almost identically to evaluation, to education for all. According to a definition, open education encompasses resources, tools, and practices that employ a framework of open sharing to improve educational access and effectiveness worldwide. Open educational resources, in particular, include teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium, digital or otherwise, that reside in the public domain or have been released under an open license that permits no-cost access, use, adaptation, and redistribution by others with no or limited restrictions. Today, our focus is here on open textbooks. There are many fora and organizations that steadily support the idea of open education and its realization through the provision of open educational resources, OER in short. UNESCO, Commonwealth of Learning, Open Education Consortium, Opening Up Education Initiative of the EU, just to name a few. However, the important point to mention is that today, open education is not just the business of some romantic volunteers or non-governmental organizations. Open education in general and open educational resources in particular, beyond their apparent ethical and moral content, have acquired a strong social and economic dimension and have been recognized as key factors for economic growth and catalysts for innovation. As such, they are being included in the strategic plans of systemic bodies and governments. However, there are still several challenges to answer and problems to solve in our way to accomplishing the mission of open education. For example, who pays for the development and maintenance of OER? By the time content becomes freely available to anyone, to everyone, no profit for the authors is expected in return. So they must be paid in some way. Moreover, trusting the quality of open material is always an issue, since the internet is open to everybody to post anything he or she likes. Thus, quality assurance of the open content is a critical must. I believe that what I have mentioned so far constitute a firm basis and a clear motive for KALLIPOS. KALLIPOS is a large-scale initiative for developing high-quality academic textbooks and making them available to all through open licenses, Creative Commons licenses more specifically. It is funded by the Greek Ministry of Education. It is implemented by the National Technical University of Athens under the auspices of HELINK, the Hellenic Academic Libraries Link, and the Senate of Rectors of the Greek universities. The vast majority of the books are in the Greek language, of course, at least so far. It covers all thematic areas of education and science. According to a classification we use, here is a list of thematic areas, 6 of them: mathematics and computer science, natural science and agricultural sciences, engineering and technology, medicine and health sciences and life sciences, law and social sciences, and humanities and arts. The project has evolved in 2 phases. The first phase was implemented in the period 13 to 15 and resulted in about 520 textbooks. The second phase, which is ongoing, has an even bigger objective: to develop more than 700 academic textbooks of a broader scope now and type. Monographs, textbooks in other languages, extended bibliographic guides are included in the new repertory. In the pie diagrams here, we can see the distribution of titles of the books in the thematic areas I mentioned before. 5 in the first stage, in the first phase, 6 according to the new classification I mentioned before. Consequently, after the end of this year, middle of next year at the latest, more than 1,200 high-quality academic books will be available to the community. Just for comparison, here is a list of other open textbook repositories worldwide with the respective number of available books as sampled in May 2021. Of course, these figures may have been changed now, but nevertheless, they do provide an indication of where KALLIPOS stands in the universe of OER. Okay, another important achievement of the project is the creation of a wide and very active network of people, a huge network, I would say, without exaggeration, who cooperate for the aimed objective. 42 distinguished professors as members of the scientific committee. About 30 members constitute the central supporting team of the project. More than 80 evaluators support the scientific committee for the evaluation of the proposals and of the content. More than 120 language editors and technical editors, and of course the authors. More than 1,200 authors are working now for these 700 textbooks, for authoring these books. And the authors, here is this bar chart, depicts the distribution according to category. The main category, of course, is professors, but we can see also researchers, professor emeritus, or even people from the public and private sector, having, of course, the qualification to help in writing books. The authors come from nearly all the academic institutions of the country, and this is shown in this bar chart. More than 25 institutions higher education institutions. And also, they participate also from researchers, as I've told earlier, from research institutes of the country, and also from universities from abroad. It is important to see the workflow of the project as it is deployed in 2 stages, or better in three stages, I would say. In the first stage, the proposal submission and evaluation stage, we publish open calls for offering proposals. Candidate authors submit their proposals. The proposals are evaluated by the scientific committee of the project, supported by external evaluators. And finally, the results of this evaluation are published. The second stage is, of course, the book authoring stage. Then it is the third stage of processing and publishing the books. The authors submit the content they have created. This content is checked first against the project standards and the suggestions of the evaluators during the proposal evaluation phase. Then the accepted material is handed over to the language and technical editors, who cooperate closely with authors, of course, and these arrows here show this interaction and feedback from one to the other. Until the book is finished. And then the finally formatted book is passed to the librarians for adding metadata and publishing it on the repository. As I have said, quality is among the critical objectives of the project through setting specific criteria and evaluating their respect by the authors. Among these criteria are the experience of the authoring teams in teaching, authoring, and research, as well as the suitability and completeness of the proposed books for the intended undergraduate or postgraduate courses, and covering at least 1 semester course is an absolute prerequisite for a proposal to be accepted. With respect to publishing, there are 3 main production lines in operation. From LaTeX, used mainly for works in mathematics, we get high quality PDF. Second, from original material which is written in Word, we can get either well-formatted PDF or EPUB through using here the Adobe InDesign platform, which is a commercial tool for this processing. There is a third option here, using a DocBook, which is an XML-based publishing method, which can be fed by text or Word documents, and has the possibility for various output formats, including PDF and EPUB. This is a new method, actually, under trial in the project. The repository, the KALLIPOS repository, here is the URL. And this is the first page after a new reformatting we have done. It is built on the DSpace 6.3 open software platform, and the items it hosts, books, chapters, other learning objects of various types, which are shown here, are organized in the 6 subject areas mentioned before and are referenced by a handle, while books will be given also a DOI. They are annotated by a rich set of metadata according to the standard practices of library science. It is a Dublin core set of metadata enhanced with some other metadata, and this enhanced set we called HEAL meta. Anyway, it is, keep in mind that it is a Dublin core-like metadata set for annotation. Let's have a look at some statistics of the repository access. It is interesting, actually, to see it, which was derived by the Google Analytics. And here we can see the downloads per month in the last 2 years. We can notice a periodicity, a pseudo-periodicity of this usage, which actually follow the respective studying load of the students. Okay, we have valleys here in the summer holidays, of course. And there is a peak here in April 20, and this is due to the pandemic and to the fact that the students had difficulties by that time to get their printed books. So they used the repository, our repository of the open e-books. Of course, the content, the 500 books, are only a small portion, a small part of the number of titles and undergraduate books the students use, which is about more than 10,000. Okay. Here is the usage per country. Of course, it is in a logarithmic scale. The lion's share, of course, belongs to Greece. And also at the second place is Cyprus, because they share the same language, Greek. And the third diagram is the usage per age and per gender. It is interesting to see that the repository, the content, our content is used by all ages, you can see. And also we can see that more girls visit the site than boys, 57% girls, 43% boys. And let me conclude with this slide with reference to our plans for the near future. We are expecting an extension of the project, both in time and funding. And we plan to issue new calls for authoring proposals for more textbooks, open textbooks, also in other languages. Also the translation of existing books into an English version. And also we are going to give emphasis on books with multimedia and interactive elements. We had this in the very first objective, even from the first phase, but okay, by that time, probably the technology and the author's experience did not help to get many such books. Let me conclude with the two logos at the top here, and the symbolism that can be assigned to them. Okay, this is the logo of our project, KALLIPOS Open Academic Editions. This is the logo of NTUA, and okay, what is here, what we have here, Prometheus, according to a Greek myth, Prometheus is stealing the light of knowledge from gods in order to give it to the people, open and for free. Okay, thank you for your attention.